Thank you for watching ECSO News, where facts matter. I'm Allison Morgan.
And I'm Amber Southard. You can run, but you can't hide. Roosevelt Dixon found that out the hard way after leading our deputies on a high-speed chase that ended in Alabama. Roosevelt is a felon, wanted for several different felony charges, including kidnapping and grand theft auto. He was captured using canines in Baldwin County after he exited the suspect vehicle and ran into nearby woods. He has been charged with fleeing and eluding and driving with a suspended license.
We've received many questions about Canine Alec's well-being after being choked by a suspect. Napoleon Bonaparte Grandison robbed the Circle K on Mobile Highway at gunpoint. When ECSO deputies arrived on scene, they began searching the area for a suspect matching Grandison's description. He was located on Star Circle just a short time later. Grandison tried to get away by pushing two deputies, kicking and hitting Canine Alec's partner, and choking Alec. He was arrested and charged with robbery of a convenience store with a firearm, aggravated assault with a firearm, 2 counts of battery on an LEO, 2 counts of resisting arrest with violence, and false identification to a law enforcement officer. Canine Alec and all 3 deputies are doing well.
Well, it's that time in the show again where we like to bring you our most wanted, and who better to bring on the show than Crime Stoppers Melanie Peterson.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So who do you have with you today?
Well, for this week, of course, we're going to feature Kiara Bailey. She's 23 years old. Female. She's got a bond of $31,500. She has some outstanding warrants in dealing in stolen property. So, okay. And she also has a VOP. So, of course, that automatically has a no bond. But once she goes before the judge, she'll get a bond for her charges of dealing in stolen property.
Okay.
So, and our next wanted fugitive is Kayla Boren. Kayla is 24 years of age, and she's has an outstanding warrant for possession of drugs. Her bond is $1,000. And our third fugitive is Oscar David Cabrelas Diaz.
That's a mouthful.
Wow.
It is. He's a male, 45 years of age. He's wanted by FHP. He has a VOP, violation of probation with us, of course, with a no bond. But he's also wanted by FHP for hit and run. So for that separate charge, he has a bond of $5,000.
And can you talk about the rewards with these cases?
Absolutely. Well, of course, there's 4 ways to provide Crime Stoppers with a tip. You can call our 24-hour-a-day call center at 433-STOP, text a tip. You can go to our website directly. You can even find out all that information on our Facebook. But our Crime Stopper tips, once we get a tip on someone, if it's proved to be a good tip and it led to an arrest, our rewards range up to $1,000, and that's just for warrants. Wanted fugitives. We pay up to $3,000 for information on homicides and up to $5,000 for cold case.
And Crime Stoppers is really making it where these people have nowhere to hide. And this year you guys are doing something a little different. You put the kiosk out at the Pensacola Fair.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what better way? I mean, everybody goes to the fair. It's got a lot of people. People love those kiosks. And it's just like watching TV. And, I'm sure, even when I was there last night, people always recognize someone. So those kiosks are such a great tool, and we've got them all over the county and different government agencies and stuff, DMV, Janet Hawley, tax collector. So it's just really good. But yeah, it's real eye-catching, and we put all their information on there and a photo to make it even easier to recognize them.
Right. Just be walking around the fair and be like, oh, and then they can call the number or use the app, and next thing you know, you've got a little cash.
Absolutely. Oh, and I did want to mention too that we've even on the kiosk, we had a robbery on the 8th of Advance America Cash off of Navy Boulevard. Good suspect, pictures. We just want to get him identified. And I can tell you that Crime Stoppers will be giving a very good reward, perfect Christmas money. We just need a good name, and we need to get him off the streets.
Absolutely. We highlighted him on ECSO News before, too, so we'll definitely get his picture back up on here. And help you out.
I'll make it worth their while.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you recognize any of these individuals highlighted in tonight's show, please, you can call 433-STOP to report where you saw them. Thanks. October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Sheriff David Morgan was honored to sign a proclamation aboard NAS Pensacola recognizing the month.
Domestic violence is a crime of secrecy. It almost always occurs indoors, which 2/3 of our crimes today do occur indoors. Unfortunately, too many times we're not brought into an instance of domestic violence until a victim is injured to the point of requiring hospitalization, or many times a family member or a friend will report it. And so, Domestic Violence Month is something to heighten the awareness of our community, to encourage victims of domestic violence, to please come forward.
I think it's critical that we show a united front across law enforcement. There's no safe place to hide. Escambia County Sheriff's Department, Pensacola Police Department, the military, the fire department. I think it's important that we take a stand. That's critical that we get that message out.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So it is more than a military issue, and it's more than a community issue. It's an issue that we need to tackle together as the community of Pensacola and Escambia County. So I think it's important for these events, again, that we collaborate in what we're doing and trying to tackle these tough socioeconomic problems.
It was a beautiful day for the Northview High School homecoming parade. Tyler Carroch, also fondly known as the Donut Boy by his peers, joined Sheriff David Morgan in throwing out beads to parade goers earlier this month. Last month, with the help of Krispy Kreme, a donation from them, Tyler brought each ECSO deputy a donut to thank them for their service. We're thankful for his support to the LAO community. Each week on ECSO News, we work to bring you missing persons cases in hopes that you can help us locate them. The first person we are highlighting in today's segment is Sarah Elizabeth Cox. She's 16 years old. Sarah has been missing since October 10th. She's also wanted for FTA delinquency disposition, petty theft, resisting officer with violence, and giving a false name to LEO. Sarah is also a habitual runaway. We are also looking for Justice David Parker. He's 12 years old. He's been missing since October 19th. Parker is also a habitual runaway. If you recognize any of these people in this segment tonight, or you know of their whereabouts, please call the ECSO at 436-9620 or Crime Stoppers at 433-STOP.
We're here today to talk about our Explorers program, and joining me is Deputy Purcell and Martego Clark. They're part of the Explorers program. So, Deputy Purcell, can you tell me what the Explorers program is?
Yeah, the Explorer program is kids from ages 14 to 21. We basically teach them how to be a law enforcement officer. We do everything from ride-alongs with us out on patrol. We go to out on public relations, out at the fair per se. We go to the banks and let people see how we do fingerprinting and such. We travel, do competitions. He's been to a few. We've gotten first place, second place, third place in several competitions.
In these competitions, what is it that they compete in?
We got first place recently in traffic stops. Martego here actually was one of the few that went on the traffic stop competition section and won his first place in that. Made a great observation, called it radio traffic, was very well, uses signal codes and 10 codes like we have. He's very, very professional and very proficient with it.
Great. And why do you think it's such a benefit to have this program here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office?
It teaches the kids basically, well, also on our side, with the media attention that we're getting is mostly negative, and I can be honest about that. This teaches them, hey, we're doing not only chasing bad guys and getting in car chases and foot chases and stuff like that. We're out there helping the community. We help people just do standbys. We help people get their dogs back. We help people do anything. We're here to help the population and the society.
Great, that's wonderful. Martego, so how long have you been an Explorer?
I believe I'm going on 2 years right now.
Okay, and how old are you?
16 years old.
Okay, and you are still in school. What school do you attend?
I go to Pine Forest High School right now.
How did you hear about the Explorers program?
I found out about Explorers through my school resource officer back in middle school, and I immediately took initiative to join, and I've been here ever since.
Why were you interested in it? Why did you want to join?
I was interested in Explorers because as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a deputy and help people.
Okay. And so far being in the program, what do you think that's taught you, and how do you think it might have helped you in school and in everyday life?
It's taught me many morals, respect, the good side of law enforcement, keeps me motivated in school, makes me work harder at life.
Going to these competitions that we're talking about, I hear you're doing a great job. You've actually gotten to see what law enforcement does.
Yes, ma'am.
This is something you want to do when you graduate high school?
Yes, ma'am.
How has this helped you decide that this is what you want to do as a career?
I've had a chance to go on several ride-alongs, experience what it's like to be out, and I enjoy it.
And how do you think this helps? You work with them, you volunteer your time. It's a volunteer program for the most part when it comes to the employees here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Why did you want to volunteer your
I
time?
feel that I'm a big kid at heart. I like to have fun, but I also like to help. Volunteering the time, we do it every second and fourth Tuesday of every month. We meet from 6 to 8, and we just basically we teach them, our jobs. And every Tuesday is something different. We've done anything from building clearing to CPR certifications to traffic stops and high-risk traffic stops with felony takedowns. And it also motivates them to they have to maintain a 2.0 GPA, and if it gets any lower than that, they're not allowed to participate until their grades get back up. Just like sports at school, if you want to do it, you have to keep school comes first, and it keeps them motivated to that. And I think with the way we have human relations with the public, it keeps them motivated and gives them that confidence they need at school with future if they become into law enforcement or anything like that.
That's an amazing program. And for you to be able to be here and do this, what does this mean for you personally?
It means a lot to me. It definitely motivates me to do better and keep going. And I just can't see myself doing anything else.
To be able to come here and have somebody like Deputy Purcell as a mentor, has
Yes,
that helped you just in school or just outside of everything?
I say all around, he's motivated me as a person. I've had a chance to watch him do his job. I like the way he handles things, and I enjoy, and we have a good time.
You two do have a good time. You're constantly hanging out. I always see it on Facebook and everything, posting pictures. So it's good for you, too, to be able to...
It is, and it's nice to be able to relate with them on a personal level as well as at work.
Great. And then also, you work here over the summertime. So when you've
Yes,
got
ma'am.
summer vacation, can you talk about that a little bit?
During the summer, the Sheriff's Office have given me an opportunity to work here, a paid job, and it's awesome. Gets me a foot in the door and see what it's like to work for the agency.
Now, you're not out carrying a gun and being like these men and women. What is it that you do here during the summer?
I work over at the garage with all the vehicles and stuff like that, and I help Senior Deputy Mulholland with whatever he's got for me.
Good deal. Without something like this, do you think it would be hard for you to get such a summer job?
Yes, I think it would be hard, and most people who don't know about this program have no idea how to work their way towards being a law enforcement officer, and they eventually give up on it. So having this Explorer program, I'd say it's set up a stairway for you towards law enforcement.
Now, somebody's sitting at home and they have a child and they're thinking, wow, this sounds like a great program. Are you guys always looking to fill spots?
Always. We're always accepting people as long as they meet the grades. You can't be in any trouble, obviously. You have to have a clean record and stuff. Like he said, it's a stairway. If you start out, you just come to the meetings and everything. Eventually, you get put into a rank structure, as in the guy who's in charge and leads the meetings and everything. Eventually, you get up. You can start doing the summer jobs, and then part-time after school. Eventually, you start getting into, college credits, stuff like that, and possibly I know some people have been paid through, or the sheriff's office has paid them to go through the academy.
Yeah, there's many opportunities.
And jump right into it. And with them being so involved with, especially this agency, they already have a jump on everybody who's just coming in from the academy and not knowing anything.
What do you think this is doing for our recruitment?
I think that we have a 40 to 60% turnout rate, success rate, where they either become law enforcement officers in some capacity, either it be state, corrections, or anything like that, and also going into the military. I feel that's a very successful thing for them to be on a positive side of life.
Great. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And if you want to learn more about this program, you can visit escambiaso.com, or you can also call the Sheriff's Office at 436-9630 and ask to speak to Pat Yavara.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked.
My question is, what do I need to give the officer when I'm pulled over?
Alexandria asked, what must she give an officer if pulled over for a traffic stop? Well, the standard request, Alexandria, is your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. An officer, that's usually what they will ask you for immediately. And they'll also should tell you as a courtesy as to why you were stopped. Did you have a tail light out? Were you exceeding the speed limit by a certain amount, etc.? We stress officer courtesy in Escambia County, and we would like to know if an officer is not courteous in any contact with a civilian. You can make an anonymous complaint to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. You can also do one online, and no, you're not required to, to give your name at any time, although if you want to, you can certainly do that too. And I want to assure you that each and every one of those complaints are investigated. So we like to know what the interaction is with our citizens, with officers. So that's basically what you're going to be asked for in any traffic stop. Why? Because we want to ensure that you're a licensed driver, meaning that you are authorized to drive either in the state of Florida or the state that you come from with a valid driver's license. We want to know who the vehicle is registered to, and is that vehicle that you're operating in accordance with Florida's law, is it properly insured for it to be operated within the state of Florida in the event that you would be involved in an accident, so your liability is covered. So that's standard what we ask for each and every traffic stop. Thomas asked about the panhandlers in Escambia County, and is there anything that we can do? Thomas, great question. We share in your frustration. We've worked with the County Commission to get a local ordinance with some teeth in it that we can get control of this situation. Currently, we really don't have an ordinance that goes what we think is far enough to really take a hard run at this, and I will tell you why. We also get pushback and resistance from other organizations other than just citizens, meaning the American Civil Liberties Union, the Criminal Defense Bar. They approach panhandling as a First Amendment right, meaning that you have a right to beg. And so the real answer to this problem is it's not a law enforcement problem, it's a societal problem. If you stop giving panhandlers money, they will go someplace where they get money. So I have a community now that actually encourages that. And I say that not in anger or, with, I guess any trepidation as to what blowback I'll get, and here's why. I speak to many different organizations throughout Escambia County, speak to a lot of churches, and I will tell you that we have a lot of our churches here that go out and distribute food coupons, clothing, and yes, money to many of the people that are panhandling. So I have so many of our citizens in Escambia County who are compassionately reaching out to these people. And now I have other citizens and business owners that are saying we need to clean the streets up of the vagrants, if you will. We used to call them vagrants when I was growing up. We also confuse panhandlers with those who are homeless. As I always am very specific with people, I'm not anti-homeless, but I do see panhandling as an issue in Escambia County. Why? Because we also have aggressive panhandlers. They're the ones that'll step into the flow of traffic, or if they're around some of our businesses. We had this issue out on the west side for a while. People trying to get from one of our local grocery stores out to their car, and panhandlers were literally blocking their way to their vehicle coming out of the store and demanding money, asking for money. So we arrest them for that, by the way. That's, almost comes under the heading of a simple assault, if you will, especially if they place their hands on your cart or on a subject. So I would recommend that you get with your county commissioner and encourage them to, again, look at our ordinances and see if we can't get one from another locale within the state of Florida that's passed the legal test that it must pass for it to be enforceable. I would tell you, in our first sweep of panhandlers, it's been a couple of years ago now, we arrested, I think it was 37 or 38 people. Every one of those cases was thrown out. We have to videotape the activity. And then, of course, we give warnings. Many times we are given a false name and a false address. They don't show up for court. So the question then becomes, for this low-level activity, do we want to really tie up a law enforcement officer for sometimes hours and then days to respond to court when someone doesn't show up, and then we have to issue a warrant and find this person, and then we end up incarcerating them? They have a whole series of health issues, which drives jail medical costs up. This is a vicious cycle. And so that's why I come back to tell folks that it's not really a law enforcement problem, it's a society problem. Stop giving panhandlers money and they will go away.
I want to know, how do y'all train the canines and give them signals to go after what you're looking for?
Anastasia asked about canine training. As you know, we have probably one of the finest canine units in the United States of America, and I say that with a straight face and with a huge smile, because we're so proud of Lieutenant Potts and that organization. And every year when they go to the police national competitions, our canine unit always brings back trophies. And so we have, again, one of the best canine units, not just in the state of Florida, but in the United States. Each individual handler, when they're trained with their dog, they go through a whole required training scenario where if you ever watch a dog on tape, or if you see a dog when we put on some of our demonstrations, they also have a toy. And so the handler will get the dog in a relaxed situation, they play with the toy, and the dog also gets treats or gets an opportunity to play with the toy when they do a good job or when they complete the task. And then an officer will give the dog a verbal command, and sometimes it's also a nudging of the dog. It can be also a physical command, if you will, where they tell them to seek, and then the dog will go into their particular area of expertise. And I say that because we have bomb dogs, narcotics dogs, and also, of course, the animals are trained in patrol. And so the handler works those signals out with their particular animal, just like each handler has an out command, meaning that if the dog goes into a search mode, or unfortunately into a mode where they're protecting the handler and they're going after a suspect who may be attacking their handler, they'll give them a command to release. So the dog will not continue to bite someone if they're attacking the handler. So we would invite you out to see our canine unit. We put on demonstrations. Give us a call and we'll make arrangements for you to come out and actually see the dogs in action. I think you'll be very impressed.
My question is, the money that is seized from drug dealings and drug issues in the community, how is it reallocated? How do you decide where it's reallocated?
Robert has asked a question about our trust fund money, which is drug forfeiture money. It has many parts to it, as to how we get the money, how it's distributed, what process it goes through, how do we choose a nonprofit organization, and really what it's intended for. These monies, Robert, again, is not from our tax dollars, so I want to make that clear to everyone here. These are not what are referred to as ad valorem taxes. If you own property within Escambia County, you pay taxes on your property. That's not the money that we spend. We spend the money seized from really ill-gotten gains, meaning drug dealers in this case. It can also be from items that we seize that go up for auction, and that goes into what's called a trust fund. It's the one fund that I have at the Sheriff's Office that I refer to as a discretionary fund, meaning that within the parameters of the state statute, I as the sheriff can determine where to distribute these funds, and I can distribute them to a wide area of different organizations or activities. We can use some of the money for overtime for narcotics operations. We can use it for youth drug diversion and crime diversion programs. We can use it for a single event for advertising. As you well know, we advertise a locket program. We do PSAs. We have flyers put in many different brochures. We give a lot of money to youth sports programs. We even give money to things as diverse as the opera and Pensacola Little Theater. People say, well, what does opera and little theater have to do with drug or crime diversion? It's youth intervention. What we do in partnering with these local organizations, we give them money to set aside a certain number of tickets and or training for the young people in Escambia County who come, I will be honest with you, mostly from underprivileged families. And now they have an opportunity to learn about opera, to learn about stagecraft, to learn about acting, to build sets, to be involved in the activities, in this case of, say, the Pensacola Little Theater, or in the opera. Their tickets are free to go to these shows and to interact with the people in these organizations. And yes, they are nonprofit organizations. So we pretty much set the criteria for that they be a nonprofit and in some way they give back to our community. Big Brothers and Big Sisters is another large recipient of our trust funds, as is Pace Center for Girls. We have a long list of local organizations. We give to the Tate Quarterback Club. We give to the FFA programs at both Tate and Northview, 4-H programs. Anything that we can get our young people engaged in to, again, divert them from this idleness which so many times leads to crime and criminal activity is what we invest in at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. So, we're very proud of that. We have some numbers, by the way, that are coming out this year. After a little over 7 years of contributing to these programs, I will tell you that our reduction in crime, especially in the area of juvenile crime, is being drastically reduced. Now, we also go for some more traditional ones where we give money to our Domestic Violence Coalition from our trust fund, again, to curb or hopefully train women on what to look for before they become a victim of domestic violence. So we give to, again, a wide array of these organizations in Escambia County, and our crime numbers are showing that investment is starting to turn, some significant returns for us in Escambia County. So while the rest of the nation is trending up in violent crime, domestic violence, youth crime, etc., guess where Escambia County is going? We're trending down. Not too many years ago, that was just reversed. The nation was showing drastic reductions in crime, and Escambia County was either leveled or going up. So we think after a little over 7.5 years, we're finally getting a return on these investments. So we intend to continue that. To date, we've given almost $1.5 million back to our community. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV, Tuesday night at 8 p.m.